For the rest of your life, there's no financial compensation. You just have to survive.
Ooh.
This is what the climate has changed to. For the rest of your life, I mean, you'll have sunny days, cloudy days, rainy days. That doesn't change. But the average temperature of where you live throughout the year is 37 degrees Fahrenheit. The average hottest point of the day temperature. 37 degrees.
So, like, could I survive?
Or
depends on how much energy.
Your average hottest part of the day
Oh,
is 97 degrees.
97 degrees. That's Manila. Do I need to say anything? That's Manila.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I would pick 37 all day long.
Me too.
You can always add layers, or you
Yes.
can always take layers off, but
I think people habituate to really hot stuff really quickly.
I think they do to really cold stuff too.
yeah.
And plus, I mean, if it's 37, that it's the average. So you're probably going to still, like in your summer months, it's probably going to be like in the
48.
maybe 50s, which would just be wonderful.
Yeah, that would be pretty nice. That would.
Do you
be
take
pretty
cold
nice.
showers this time of year?
Yeah. I mean, it depends. Yesterday I went on a run and
Did you take a hot shower when you got done?
No.
Good.
Okay, so if I just get
To me,
done,
nothing annoys me more than a hot shower this time of year. It's like, man, it's so hot out. You know what I think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go make myself hotter. You know,
Yeah.
like,
my wife, I got her on something the other day. She would always be like, "You're not drying off your back enough." I'm like, "Babe, I just got out of a hot shower. That's sweat. I did dry my back. It's sweat." And the other day, she like snatched the towel away from me, and she's like, "I'm gonna dry your back." And then, by golly, 20 seconds later, it was glistening.
I hate that. That to me is of all the. So I hate the heat. To me, fall, spring, winter, then summer. Those are the best month or best seasons.
What if you couldn't hunt? Would it still be fall first?
Yeah, because
Okay.
fall is a lot of like high pressure days where, it's a sunny, nice day, but there's no humidity because all the vegetation is crispy for the year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas spring, you get a lot of rain, so it can be pretty humid, and you also get those random like trifecta of high humidity, maybe even some rain, and low temperatures, where it's just like we're in Anchorage, Alaska right now in July. But,
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, $1,000 a month for each of you, but every morning you have to get in the sauna for 5 minutes, then polar plunge or ice plunge or whatever.
for how what's the
$1,000 a month. So it's not nothing, but it's not
like
life changing.
Not a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would say yes starting out, but I'd quickly get annoyed by the extra hassle that it created,
Yeah.
like having to wake up extra early. And,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean? Be like, yeah, it's an easy extra $1,000, but I don't think I would stick with it.
Riley?
I think I'd try it. I think that the sauna would be doable. The whole polar plunge thing,
You're not into it?
going from one to the other, no. My genes are adapted to a place where if you fell in cold water, you would die. So, I don't know.
Escape.
Yeah, just not a fun experience.
Natural selection has created a strong escape.
It's a fight or flight response.
Yeah.
Actually, I start getting panicky if I have ice in my water when I'm drinking.
Swimming pool temperature water is nice. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I view it when I take a cold shower. I'm like setting it. Okay.
Do you ever hot shower then cold shower? Like,
If I'm like really dirty, if I got like bearing grease on me or hydraulic oil, which fun fact on hydraulic oil, if you ever get that on yourself in the summertime, learned the hard way last year with Riley. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Get it off ASAP because it works like baby oil. And it gives you the worst like sunburns, right wherever you had like a globule of that hydraulic oil on you.
oh, interesting.
Even Alex is very careful about it.
Interesting.
a recipe for flaky skin.
Alex is pretty hardcore dude. He just pressure washed a significant portion of his hand off Yes, I said that correctly. His hand off. He said he just saw the hunk of skin go flying.
Yeah.
When he had the most aggressive tip on his power washer, and he was trying to like clean out this car part or something. And he actually went like that and just sloughed off a huge part of his back of his hand.
I'm just imagining some leathery old person putting those things on as their shower head. Just trying to feel the pressure. Oh man. All right. We should get started. Coffee Time Wednesdays with the Prairie Farm Podcast.
Can't hit us with the jingle.
It may sound weird, but I actually ask my friends about their finances, but not only about how their finances are, but specifically things like, how much money do you have in your bank account? Are you saving for your kids' future? Do you have a retirement plan that's in line? And the reason I ask these questions is because I know that finances put more stress on most people than anything else. And one of the biggest alleviators of stress from finances in my wife and I's life was when we switched to McKay Insurance. Now, we did this way before they were a sponsor of the podcast, but once we did it, we got our life insurance lined up, we got our health insurance for a much better deal, and we were able to bundle everything that we had, and we saved a bunch of money. We're actually able to connect with the people who are giving us our insurance and helping us do our financial planning. I highly recommend McKay Insurance. That's McKayInsagency.com. Welcome back to the Prairie Farm Podcast, Coffee Time Wednesday. I'm your favorite host, Nicolas Lirio. Favorite co-host, Ken Boucher.
Hey.
Favorite co-host to the co-host, Riley Rosendahl.
Howdy.
Riley, doing some last second mixing. How's that going for you?
Good. I'm pleasantly surprised by what diversity we still have on the shelf. Like sometimes this time of year things start getting a little lean. But no, I'm still putting together really good mixes. So
that's cool.
It's nice.
What's blooming right now?
Oh man, Ohio spiderwort. And every year I think I could make a fortune going through those ditches and getting that Ohio spiderwort. Oh man! But you have like a 30-hour window, to get it.
Yeah.
So if you guys do hand harvest a bunch of Ohio spiderwort and you have the means of cleaning it, give us a call. We'll buy it off you.
With us.
Yeah.
What else are you seeing out there? It's kind of fun to talk about.
The Penstemon was unbelievable last week.
It's still good.
Yeah.
Still good.
Penstemon blooms quite a while.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about it. Obviously, the Prairie spiderwort is in bloom. Golden Alexander is just dwindling down, just getting out of it. And you're just now, I'm just now starting to see cone flowers, not the flower, but like the shoots of it up. I haven't seen any cone flowers.
We have a few volunteers in our World Milkweed, and they are in full bloom.
As
of now.
I kind of go by what can I see from the side of the road. Like I can see them shooting up, but I haven't seen any flowers.
Got wild quinine that's blooming now.
Yeah.
Wild indigo.
Yes,
it's coming in.
Indigo. Yeah. I didn't realize how early, which I should because we grow it. But
and cream wild indigo is like a month before this even.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Yeah, super early.
Yeah, I think there's a reel coming out on our Hoksey Instagram page, which is different from the Prairie Farm. So if you're not following the Hoksey one, make sure you go. There's
one's, in my opinion, way more interesting.
It's a lot of the just practical farm stuff, what we're up to, that kind of thing. But that video that I sent you from that really old reconstructed prairie, I almost wonder if that was cream that was up there because that was pretty early. That was Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah,
and it was in full bloom, but. It might just be white. But also butterfly weed has just started to turn orange.
Purple prairie clover is just about there. You start to see the little heads kind of going around.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like in Missouri, like where are they at with their bloom period? Because I know their harvest period when you go further north or south are different. But with the bloom period, which is kind of right in the middle of its lifespan, is that kind of dead center still?
Yeah,
I don't
good
know.
Question.
Blue-eyed grass.
That's up. Okay.
Not a grass.
I have not seen any of that this spring, but
very hard to find. You see it more in people's yards because good luck.
Coreopsis. Do we have Prairie that we grow here? Yeah, Prairie Coreopsis. I always mix it up with tall Coreopsis. It's blooming right now. Also, Canada anemone is kind of winding down.
Columbine's done.
Yep.
Alum root isn't like flowery, but what it does have is done. Now,
Hoary Vervain is just starting over the weekend.
man, Hoary Vervain, that's a fun one.
Yep.
I like, and something really cool about Hoary Vervain, it's a good or bad thing depending. If you put it in your pasture, cows don't eat it. So what's cool is that it sticks around.
Pretty much stays around forever, yeah.
I mean, obviously you don't put a ton of it in the mix, but it's cool to see like little Hoary Vervains in a pasture field. Yeah.
But yeah, some cool stuff that's out there. Keep your eyes open. We're getting into that
Pasque flower?
color rush time of the growing season.
No, we're coming up on common milkweed too.
Yeah, common milkweed. What an absolute king.
Yeah, you can see the buds forming there,
yeah.
but it's not quite there.
The Tim Brown, good friend of ours, Bearded Uplender on social media, he posts really cool things. He's got a cool remnant prairie that he's keeping a close eye on, and he's found really cool species in there. He's at 30 something, I think. Now think about this: if it's a reconstructed prairie and you're in the 1st of June. I don't know any reconstructed prairies that have 30-something species that are, you know what I mean? That's truly a remnant. So by the time, and you can't identify asters at this point, especially, he's not a botanist,
right.
you know, and he's doing a great job with identifying, but he's not a botanist. So, and even botanists look at asters and they're like, it's hard to tell the difference.
Yeah.
But that's been really cool. So follow along with that guy. He's got cool stuff going on. But
okay, one more question.
Yeah.
If you had a backyard prairie that you planted 3 years ago, and if you could have one species show up this year that would just make you like over the moon, and you planted it, wasn't like, oh, I didn't know I had this remnant, whatever, you know, what would it be?
Rough Blazing Star, dude.
Rough Blazing
Star is an absolute queen. It is the dark royal purple. I just love it. I know we talk about it a bunch here. I mean, it's maybe our favorite that we grow.
Yeah.
It's just cool. It's just an awesome plant.
It is awesome. Riley, what?
I like Wild Berg. I know it's pretty common, but on year 3 I found my Wild Berg, and that was good for me.
Yeah, so. For me it'd be a compass plant. If I could have like one compass plant that was showing up,
that would be wild on year 3.
I know,
compass plant.
I know.
Yeah.
That would just, but I'm sure it's happened. You know, it'd be really cool to see.
The thing that I don't know, some things that I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so fun to see, like world milkweed, seeing that, because it's such it's a gypsy of a plant.
Did I plant that?
Yeah, I know. It just travels around. You'll see it move through. But all right, friends, we are not talking about University of Iowa's independent water research thing that they're doing, because probably while you're listening to this, we will be hanging out with Larry Weber to actually pick his brain, get more information. And I didn't want to do, because we should, like, truly today's coffee time should be about their big announcement. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. They're putting like $10 million into independent water study to actually track what's going on, where are the issues coming from. But I didn't want to talk about it here and then just be made a fool when I ask those same questions to Larry and he's able to answer them way better, you know? So that'll be out not this Friday, but the Friday after that is the plan, unless something changes. And Kent came up, we were talking to Matt Hatala last week, who will be coming out this Friday, because that podcast was awesome.
Did you hear my little bit of audio at the end telling you what to do for coffee time this week?
I know. I literally,
because I totally forgot about it.
I transcribed it, and it was good. So Kent came up with a great question. We were talking about with Matt Hatala, like the phrase "the breadbasket of the world" or "Iowa feeds the world," and I didn't want to just do Iowa, because Illinois and some of the states surrounding us do like just as much corn and beans. I know. Heresy,
pick your Midwestern ag state, and you'll get the same.
So
busy feeding the world.
I did Midwest. Does Midwest feed the world? I spent like 3 hours doing this math. I'll try to explain it as we go, but it was kind of complicated. And to be clear, the information I got was very credible. USDA, World Health Forum, the ERC, the Economic Resource something Committee, very credible. The way I put the math together is just straight up Nicolas brain.
Some napkin math here.
You guys take it for what it's worth. So a lot of this is very credible, and a lot of it is Nicolas, and good luck figuring out the difference there. But we'll start with point blank, the Midwest, calorie-wise, does about 5% of the world's calories, produces it. And that does not double count what, like if we grow corn and beans that end up being turned into feed for an animal that goes onto someone's plate. It doesn't double count that. I was really careful about that.
Okay. But it does count that once.
It counts it once. Yep.
Okay.
The Midwest's biggest contribution calorie-wise is soybeans. And what we're doing, and it would be corn. Like we produce more calories of corn, but so much of it goes to other stuff, like ethanol, food. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And another big one, not in Iowa as much, but wheats and oats. So we send a lot of wheat to Southeast Asia. Kind of interesting. And then obviously you've got some ranching, more when you get to Western Midwest. And in Southern Ohio, there's quite a bit. There's some fairly large dairy operations, but that's not like the Midwest big thing. Poultry, especially eggs, not as much meat for the poultry. And then, of course, in Iowa, hogs, right?
Yeah.
Let's go through this. Corn almost exclusively shows up as an ingredient. Soybeans, corn gets processed at more levels than soybeans do before soybeans show up on plates for the most part. The livestock, I want to actually pull up because I put some charts together. Oh, calorie wise, Illinois is at 0.8 of the world's calories, 0.8% of the world's calories. Iowa's at 0.77, and those are the leading two in the Midwest. in terms of
Interesting.
calories. Yeah. Yep. And it was really across the world.
Is that because Illinois grows more soybeans than Iowa does?
Well, Illinois is just much bigger in just terms of overall calories.
Land, I mean, I would say, you mean like surface area? They
Yeah.
have more ag.
Yeah.
Really? I would think they're pretty close to the same, but I could be wrong.
I think, well,
There's portions of Iowa though that are less conducive, like southern Iowa.
Yeah,
It's
but
less
that's true in
conducive to
Illinois,
growing
too.
row
Yeah,
crop.
Illinois is like 40% bigger than Iowa as a state.
You know what? We could find this
look
out
up right now. So
40% bigger? No way. I'm taking the under on that.
All right. Illinois does 70.5 trillion calories a year. Iowa does 68.1 trillion calories. Then it's Minnesota at 48.8. Kansas at 47 trillion, North Dakota, then Nebraska, then Indiana, South Dakota, Missouri, Ohio, Wisconsin, and last, and maybe least, Michigan at 15 trillion calories.
Okay, listen to this.
Yep.
This is from Gemini. Illinois and Iowa are very close in size.
Okay.
Illinois covers roughly 57,914 square miles, where Iowa is slightly smaller at 56,271 square miles.
Damn.
This makes Illinois just about 3% larger than Iowa. I think it goes back to that first thing you said, which was you said that, and this was surprising to me at least, soybeans are used more in food than corn is. And I believe Iowa is number 2 or number 3 for soybean production. And I believe Illinois is number 1 for soybean production.
So first off, I should say I was very wrong on that, on guessing. That's why I tried to look these things up and do the math. But Iowa, so a third of corn is used in ethanol, roughly 37%. But of Iowa's corn, 57% traditionally is used for ethanol. So that probably has something to do with it as well.
So not only are we growing less
beans and more corn,
but we're more of our corn that we're growing.
Yep.
Plus, they are 3% bigger. I bet it's all those things,
Yeah.
which is why they produce more.
Well, 'cause I
that
mean,
was just I would have guessed wrong on a trivia question if they said who.
Well, I would have guessed with more CAFOs because there's a lot
Right.
of calories per. But I guess I'm wrong.
It was worth belaboring because that was a shocking statistic to me.
Also, plant versus animal, it is like 80-20 or 90-10 on each of these states of how much of the calories leave as a plant, like a soybean or a corn product, and how many of the calories leave as animals, which I've heard that if you stop feeding all the animals that we do so we could have meat, you would have way more calories in the world than you need. It's kind of like a net negative. But also, we don't want to eat corn syrup. Like, there's a lot of calories in corn syrup, you know. So I want to go to field corn. corn starch, corn sweeteners, meal, grits, flour flakes, is kind of where the field corn, right? Because we're not getting our food and corn from corn on the cob. That's not coming up to be 1% of the world's, food. It just shows up in all the things you could think of, assuming you cook.
Wasn't it when they did the Field of Dreams baseball game with the Yankees and the Yankees and the White Sox? And some of the players who came from not corn land, not the Corn Belt, they were like peeling ears off the stalks out in the field and trying to eat them and stuff like that. So everyone from Iowa was like, "Oh,
Gross.
It's going to take more than butter to fix that one.
Yeah. Yikes. Now, a lot of the soybeans do go to pork, poultry, eggs, dairy, and beef, and aquacultural products. So, like fish farms.
Bean meal is pretty versatile.
Yeah.
for tilapia and catfish and stuff like that."
Yeah, dude. Cod is so expensive right now. It's like frustrating how expensive it is because it's so delicious.
Are those held up on the Strait of Hormuz as well?
I don't know.
Got a bunch of cod out there.
It's probably. I don't think cod come from that region. I think they're in Arctic, circle type.
Might
fish,
be a little warm for that.
but
Alaskan
but
cod.
it probably is the diesel, for the ships and stuff.
I think it's been expensive since before. I just remember telling Judd that my wife and I were spending like $18 per meal when we have cod. And that's home cooked, cod. And he was like, "That is way too expensive. Traditionally, it's way cheaper." I don't know.
He pulls out a pack of fish sticks. They say there's cod in these.
Well, we buy the frozen like Alaskan cod, and then my wife batters and fries it. It's so good. She makes her own tartar sauce. It's good. All right.
Change of dinner plans for Nick tonight. He's talked himself into cod again.
I love spending $30 per. And there's these really good beer battered fries that Hy-Vee has right now. They're frozen, and you buy the pack. Oh, it's so good. It's so good, dude. Kent really wanted to know, where do the calories that the Midwest produce show up?
When we feed the world, what part of it are we feeding?
And we're kind of cynical about the feed the world conversation. And the truth, it's kind of true. 5%. You know what I should have looked up? How much...
that's a huge percentage.
Yeah, especially for what percentage of the land mass we actually have.
What's 5% of 8 billion? I got two numbers guys here.
Well, divide by 10 and then divide by 2, one more. 800 million, 40 million?
No,
400 million?
400 million.
We
feed 400 million people? Basically the United States.
Yeah, out of the Midwest. That's not nothing.
Call it feeding America instead of feeding the world.
That would be better, but I'm about to list all of the major... all the places where we have major exports to, major trade relations with food. Corn, Mexico, Japan, South Korea, Colombia, European Union, Taiwan, Guatemala, Vietnam, Canada, and Honduras. Soybeans, China, Mexico, European Union, Egypt, Japan, Indonesia, Pakistan, Taiwan, Bangladesh, Vietnam. Soybean meal, so already processed, Philippines, Colombia, Mexico, Canada, Guatemala, Dominican Republic, Vietnam, Venezuela, Ecuador, and Japan. Wheat, Mexico, Philippines, South Korea, Japan, Nigeria, Taiwan, Indonesia, Thailand, Colombia, and Vietnam. Remember that Southeastern Asia. I don't know why they get so much wheat from us. And then other byproducts basically are a copy of the countries that I just said. But it's like every continent, it's except for Australia, I don't think was mentioned. There's a lot of places on there. I mean, truth is, we put out a lot of calories. Now, our argument from this does not change our argument. The quality of calories that we're putting out is globalism leading to consumerism. Is that the way that we want to go? There's a lot of these questions. Now, I want to be the first to say that there is a strong argument for efficiency on how we do food. It is not. I'd also be the first to say it's not a net positive.
Efficiency leads to security, and that's something that a lot of people have very high on their list of priorities for what their nation can provide them is food security.
Yeah, and part with the whole oil thing with the Strait of Hormuz, like who knows what's going on there? But the truth is, we're paying more for gas and diesel. We don't feel it like Laos feels it. You know what I mean? Or Cambodia or some country that gets the leftover ships in Central Africa because it's such a hassle to get it there, or they don't have the means to pay for it. They're allowed to turn, in some of those places, allowed to turn their power on for 2 hours a day. And we are going on a couple less vacations. It is a little tighter, but people aren't going without, or they're not at the risk of starving here. It's just a
necessarily
different
suffering yet.
Yeah. And I know that as soon as you start talking about people's wallets, it's really easy to whip out anecdotes. What about the single mom who blah, blah, blah? My mom was a single mom for a while, and she really struggled. That is just, those individual anecdotes are not how it takes away from the wealth that America actually has. And it like diminishes it. And I don't ever want to do that. Like, America's unbelievably wealthy. And like my biological dad grew up in the Philippines. Actually, my mom did too. And dogs are like deathly afraid of people, and they pack up to and shy away and are scared of humans. Why? Humans eat the dogs because those are the calories available, even though they're not great tasting calories, And so we haven't had to dip into that in the United States. And so when we talk about efficiency for feeding the world, I'm trying to be the devil's advocate for the corn and beans that we do have, which is not my natural position. But when we talk about those things, yeah, it makes Walmart purchases a little cheaper for us, but there are some countries where it might have brought their average intake from 1,600 to 1,850 calories, where they're going from being on average deficient to on average sustainable. And that's not a small deal, and it can't be overlooked. But yeah, I don't think that the way we're doing it has to be the way that be the way that we keep doing it in order to put out as many calories as we do. A lot of companies talk about conservation, but I want to tell you about a company that actually puts their money where their mouth is. birdhuntersupply.com is a great company. I know the owner, Joe. He's a great dude. We've had the privilege of working with him, and let's just say he really puts his money where his mouth is. A large percentage of his profits from Bird Hunter Supply go to a conservation organization of your choice at checkout. So your purchase actually puts money towards conservation, and it's not just a roundup. It's not just asking you to donate on top of your purchase. This is included with your purchase. This man is running his very own small business version of Pittman Robertson, except without all the government stuff. I'm a big fan of that. So whether you're buying hunting apparel, decoys, dog training gear, you are actually going to be giving back to conservation. That is my friend Joe at birdhuntersupply.com. We love that company. We love what they have going on. Oh, and they do a really great job with their website. Makes it very easy. birdhuntersupply.com.
Well, and I think so first of all, I want to say 400 million people is a lot of people, but as we what did we just learn, that the updated U.S. population is 390 million now?
Something. It's upper 300s.
Somebody was just telling us that. So we're basically producing enough food here in our own country to feed the population of our own country. Now, I understand it's not a direct correlation, right? Because it opens up trade avenues. Other people around the world are able to use the things that we grow, and we're able to use things that they provide back to us through trade, whether that's just money or other goods and services. So I understand it's not just a direct replacement type of thing, but so I guess my remark would be that's actually kind of less people than I thought, that when we use that phrase, feeding the world. Our food goes into a lot of places. Maybe that's a good way to, if you're going to say, yeah, we literally are feeding the world. Our food ends up on a lot of shelves around the world. Okay. But as far as like the total transformation of the center of our continent, in order to do that, and the number of people that it goes to feed is kind of underwhelming to me. If I had a gun to my head and said, Kent, tell us how many people you think depend on all the commodities that American agriculture produces, I would have guessed over 1 billion people. And so I'm not even to half of that in my guess. And so that's kind of I find that interesting. But also as far as really the best line, and maybe it's oversimplifying, but when we interviewed Molly Gleason, what was that, a couple months ago now already? 2 months ago, 3 months ago? So you can go back and I can't remember the title of that one, but Molly Gleason was the guest. So if you look back, you can hear that interview. But she said, we hear all the time about feeding the world here in Illinois. Why can't we just worry about feeding Illinois? And I think that there is some truth to that. Now, I think it's good. Like you made some really good points there, Nicolas, when you talked about, well, for somebody in a third world country, this can take them from just the barely enough calories to stay alive to giving them a little bit of margin to where, they're healthier, their kids are healthier, less malnourishment. That's good. I'm in favor of that for sure. We have, however, gotten to a point where we are linking this mass production of these products to significant problems that threaten the health of the people who live here in order to have that trade-off, right, of being able to help out these other countries. And that I can't say it's worth it at that point.
Yeah.
Where you start to harm yourself by, it's kind of like the old lifeguard thing, the terrible situation, someone's drowning, the lifeguard jumps in. Now the person they're saving is, because they're panicked, they're holding the lifeguard's head under the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say that we've gotten to that point. I don't think we've always been there, since agriculture has been utilizing a global market, but I think we are there now. And I think a lot of the issues we talk about on this podcast are directly correlated to that, and not just human health, right? But the whole ecosystem. There's a lot of things in our ecosystem that belong here as well, that can't be here because of how we've directed our resources.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Riley?
I think that it's easy to criticize the system we know and the phrase feeding the world. But I think what it comes down to is choices, production. But something I've always kind of wondered is, when we talk about feeding the world, how much of the world doesn't farm? Obviously, there are places in the world you can't. They're just, the soil's not there, the weather's not there. But how much of the world sees these large commodity crops that are so dirt cheap in comparison to anything they can produce, that they then do not produce food on their acres? Or they produce another commodity crop, whether it be something that is not edible or something like that. So commodity markets are such a strange concept, because we can say, okay, well, all this corn and beans that are being exported are feeding people, but the effect that they have when they hit that market is also something that's almost unknowable. It's so situation by situation.
I was listening to a couple people on a podcast complain about California's, was it $16 billion they spent on a railway that doesn't exist or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the high-speed rail project.
It's in San Francisco, isn't it? Isn't that where it's supposed to be?
I thought it was SoCal. I don't know much about it, but I understand. Easy to complain about. We spent all this money and got nothing in return. Totally. The reason is because there's so much red tape. And I hate red tape for anyone listening. I do not like red tape. But
how about blue tape?
No, red tape,
green
blue
tape.
all the tapes on both sides. Are we still talking about tape? I don't like it one bit, but most of that tape was environmental. Or at least anecdotally, I heard most of it was environmental. And so the question becomes, if we're going to do right by the environment, maybe we don't get a railway system. And my whole point with saying this is, with the efficiency we're talking about ROI on land, on time, not just on time on the farmers, but on ROI on the time of the people who work at John Deere. And we're not talking about ROI in their personal bank account. We're talking about ROI in the overall macroeconomics of a community and or the globe, the full-blown GDP. If we keep going down this environmental rabbit hole that says, hey, we as efficient as we are, it's destroying us, which I'm currently on a journey going down, so I'm not against it. If we keep going, the only solution is to be okay with less. And I'm just worried as a civilization, like, what if they say, hey, you're going to have you're not going to have any health problems in Iowa that have to do with glyphosate or nitrates, but you're giving up in air conditioning? What if that was the trade-off? Because I'm not saying that that's what actually has to happen, but we have to give up something. We can't have everything that we want plus some and have it and still give the same amount of energy. We have to give more energy, right? And so that's kind of what it boils down to. And I don't know if we're willing to do that when it comes to producing food here in the Midwest. I'd like us to be willing to. I talk about, hey, we need to be tougher. We need to habituate to weather more. We need to, maybe it's better to own less stuff or whatever. But then, like, the truth comes down to it, I don't always make those choices. I don't always do those things.
Yeah.
I still use single-use plastics most days. Yeah,
disgusting human being. No, you're right. That is the whole part of it. But I think that's been our consistent message since the earliest days of this podcast. We used to say it all the time. You got to find value beyond the dollar. And until we do that, it's going to be more of the same, I think. But also, I think too, we're talking like we have more room to go environmentally. Like, we don't. Could we double? Could Iowa double its corn production?
Yeah, great question.
No, we can't.
Could we even 25% increase?
We're there. We're tapped. Like, we literally have outside rows going over the crown of the ditch now in a lot of the fields around the state. You know what I mean? Literally every last square inch of arable land. Riley taught me that word. We're using it, and so. To me, we're in the last days of, not the last days, but the last days of like getting the stern talking to from nature before we have some pretty
corn version of CWD,
some pretty big disruptions. You know what I mean? And like, hey, nitrates are getting pretty high. We do this thing. It's called the wave. After the first quarter, all the little kids that have cancer up there in the hospital in our state, we wave to them. How about we, I don't know, stop having cancer? Yeah. But we're like at that. It's like we're putting tape over the indicator lights on the dummy lights on our dashboard, and so it's not just here we are. Are we going to keep having more? Or are we going to choose to go without some things? It's like, no, eventually the choice will be made. You're going to be without some things because these other problems have demanded so much of your resources. I mean, since I've only been living in my house for 5 years, and I believe in that time my homeowner's insurance has tripled because there's been so much storm damage done across the state over the last few years. We've had 2 or 3 derechos in that time, something like that. And I
would give just as much credit to the fact that people want a new roof after 2 small scratches.
But that's always been the case. Huh? Insurance fraud or leveraging your insurance has been around for a while. But I don't know. There's not much more room. Like, there's not much rope left to give.
Yeah.
I'd argue though that it's not. I'd argue we're at a turning point currently. If you look at the advancements in grazing technology, the fact that we're so long in the tooth on commodities, prices are low, inputs are high. I feel like we're about to turn a corner here on asking just because we can feed, quote, feed the world with soybean and corn, what if we can do better for our state? Whether that be producing, everybody has a larger vegetable garden. I think it's just a part of ongoing conversations that we're working towards.
Absolutely. I think you can't subtract innovation and new efforts out of it either. Like there's a way to technically have less of something but more of something else. And I think that absolutely that, and you know what? I think that's seeing value beyond the dollar. Turns out I just celebrated my 13th wedding anniversary yesterday. Turns out after you've been married for 13 years, a time well spent is pulling weeds in your garden. And kind of like last night, my wife and I, we were walking around at sunset in our yard and checking out my prairie plot and checking out her gardens and stuff. And there's a ton of satisfaction that comes from that, and it, in a way, it is over the years. I'm kind of a snob when I go to the grocery store now, see what everyone else is buying. And
I just know Kent's judging people as picking out
that's some
this
processed
week's special Ben and Jerry's.
That's an interesting rendition of corn you have there. But what do they call that? Jack's pepperoni pizzas. But
don't you dare! We all got through.
They
college.
are delicious.
Yes.
They are delicious. But I mean, I'm going to virtue signal here for myself, but my wife deserves all the credit. She has made such an effort over the last handful of years, especially, to just, we're an ingredient family now. We're not a.
Was it the Genevieve thing that kicked it off?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, my in-laws deserve a lot of credit. They were always an ingredient family.
Cool.
And Caitlin then, added to that with what things she learned from Genevieve. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the PFAS episode, if you want to go back and listen to that, microplastics and PFAS. But it's amazing how much I have benefited from that. And I was thinking that yesterday while we were grocery shopping. And so in a way, I have gone with less. I don't eat as much corn anymore. In fact, I eat very little corn now, but I eat a lot of chickpeas and I eat a lot of lentils and rice and other things. That's a little bit more. You're not making it such a strip mine operation for our state in order to fill my plate.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole economics is a little bit like you have a couple options. You either produce more or you produce more efficiently or through innovation. And I think, there's been a lot of innovation one step in front of another with corn and soybeans. And that's just, it wasn't like this big, long 60-year scheme it was just one step.
And I don't think people were trying to hurt people in the process.
No, in fact, I think even today, for the most part, they're not. No one's out there trying to hurt other people, but there is a little bit of protecting the wallet, and that's not
absolutely. There's a ton of protecting the wallet. There's to the point of carrying incredible political sway in order to protect the wallet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a big fan of like the Loeb Rangers because they went back in time.
Loeb Rangers.
Yeah, they're awesome. They went back in time and then they started innovating, if that makes sense. So they pulled the technology back a ways, and now that they pulled it back, they're innovating again, but where we branched off and went less ecologically safe, they see those mistakes and they have the benefit of hindsight, and they're like, okay, we'll innovate in a different direction, but it's still innovation. And I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah. That's really good. Yeah, and like I said, I don't think we're in our last days by any means. I'm not a Harold Camping, quit your
you guys should hear him off the mic.
Liquidate your 401k to buy a billboard that says the end is near.
Yeah.
Call this number.
Ken's actually putting together care packages you can order online.
He comes with a crimson robe. And
dude, it's crazy. Whenever the news gets really crazy or World War III comes up, you start seeing those ads for the boxes The like
Oh,
everything
the
you
meals.
need boxes.
Yeah. Those 5-gallon buckets
Yeah.
filled with like oatmeal and macaroni.
The prepper stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, my point is, I think the environment is giving us those, those maybe some of those last few warnings of, hey, make some significant change or I will change it for you, you know? And I think we do well to, instead of just singing ourselves to sleep with, we're too busy feeding the world, then let's actually step back and be like, man, we've done a lot of good for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But now we're kind of doing a lot of not so good for ourselves in order to do good for other people. Let's pull back, retool, readjust. And there's not enough farmers left for them to do that. You know what I mean? Like they don't have I remember it was laughable. The Corn Growers Association sent the Iowa Corn Growers Association sent a letter to, I think it was Brooke Rollins, or might have even been the president.
Was it about E15 or something?
Yeah, or no, I think it was about
the China
input cost
tariff. I think it was a tariff thing.
I can't. It was a while ago, maybe 6 months ago, and at the beginning of the letter, it said, on behalf of the 7,500 members of the, it's like, that just got thrown into the circular file. There's just that's not a lot of people. And 7,500 people counts for exactly 7,500 votes.
Yeah.
And so we can't be standing around here and say, yeah, farmers, do something, fix this for us as we're eating our bowl of cornflakes, standing there watching. It does come down to, where am I going to be willing to reward those in the market who are growing something that is better for me and better for Iowa? And where can I go even with less? And how do I beat that monster of consumption and excess,
the money monster,
out of myself?
Farmers markets, friends. If you hate big tech and Walmart and all these big companies, they feel like, and the government, no joke, a lot of it can be traced back to like just spending your money.
Turns out you can get oatmeal in 50-gallon bucket.
Oh man. Well, the truth is, it's not great for our branding, but it's fairly accurate to say that the Midwest at least helps feed the world. That is an accurate sentence. Is that the only part?
Come on. I'm not. It just sounds too much like 96% of Illinois farms are owned by families. We help feed the world.
Yeah, but I just listed like 30 different countries on 5 different continents that we send a big chunk of food to.
Let's say, how about the Midwest has food on a lot of shelves around the world?
No, I'm sticking with it.
400 million people is just underwhelming to me.
Nah, yeah, but it's still it's a part of it. 5%. That's
all right.
huge.
We are in disagreement.
Yeah, we're in disagreement. I think it is appropriate to say that the Midwest helps feed the world. I think that's.
But
true.
that's not the saying. The saying is the Midwest feeds the world.
I know, but that's what I was just saying earlier when you correct me. I was saying it's appropriate to say the Midwest helps feed the world.
Helps feed the world.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I'm with you. It doesn't make sense to say.
I'm not trying to be a butt. I'm just saying. It just reminds me of, like, it's just such a. I mean, help is just such a wide open, very big subjective term.
That's true.
It's like true. Some.
But it's just, it's not the only part of the conversation.
Farms in Illinois are owned by families.
Yeah, well, that's by families. I think 96 of all businesses in America are owned by families.
Wait, you have a family?
I want to know who the 4% was. I know. I was born with no mom and dad.
It's like, Judd, I appeared out of the wilderness.
That dude did. Oh, man. All right. Well, before we go, thank you, everyone who's been commenting on the forum. Those have been fantastic questions, and I've had the privilege of having really great conversations with experts about your questions, and I'm really enjoying that. So keep that coming. If you haven't and you're on social media, make sure you check out this reel. It is The Lion King reenacted with excavators. And it is one of my favorite videos of all time.
You sent that to the group.
They set up like 40 excavators.
I was very impressed with the operator on that.
There was only one guy in the whole video. Like, there's no other humans to be seen. And I don't, it's an incredible, anyway. Lion King reenacted with excavators. Great
Yeah,
video.
it's pretty good.
And we will talk to you again
That was pre-Hormuz diesel prices, I'm sure.
next time.